What if a single momentous, seemingly harmless fall on a snowy slope could unravel an entire life, leaving behind a void that no amount of fame or fortune could fill? In March 2009, the world was stunned when Natasha Richardson, a radiant star of stage and screen, met a tragic end after a skiing accident that seemed so minor at first. But what lies beneath this story isn't just the loss of a talented actress, it's a tale of love, heartbreak, and the haunting choices that define a family's legacy. Was her death an unavoidable tragedy? Or could a single decision have changed everything? Welcome to Celeb Shadows TV, where we peel back the curtain on the stories that linger in the shadows of fame. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and join us as we uncover the truths that Hollywood often buries. Today, we dive into the heartbreaking story of Natasha Richardson's untimely death and the profound impact it left on her husband, Liam Neeson, their sons, and the world. Buckle up, because this is a story that will make you question fate, love, and the fragility of life itself. Let's start with the heart of this tragedy, a ski trip in Quebec, Canada, that began as a carefree getaway but ended in a nightmare. Natasha Richardson, a celebrated actress from the illustrious Redgrave family, was 45 years old, at the peak of her career, and deeply in love with her husband, Liam Neeson. Together, they had built a life that seemed picture-perfect, with sons, a thriving marriage, and a shared passion for the arts. But on March 16, 2009, everything changed. Natasha, a beginner skier, took a tumble on a gentle slope at Mont Tremblant resort during a private lesson. It wasn't a high-speed crash or a dramatic fall, just a simple slip that left her laughing it off. She declined medical attention, insisting she was fine, and returned to her hotel room. Within hours, she began experiencing headaches, a sign of something far more sinister, an epidural hematoma, a deadly buildup of blood between her skull and brain. By the time she was rushed to a hospital in Montreal and later flown to New York, it was too late. 2 days later, on March 18, 2009, Natasha was taken off life support, leaving Liam Neeson to make the agonizing decision to let her go. Their sons, Michael and Daniel, were just 13 and 12 years old. This moment wasn't just a personal loss for the Neeson family, it sent shockwaves through Hollywood and beyond. Natasha wasn't just any actress. She was a member of the Redgrave dynasty, daughter of Vanessa Redgrave and Tony Richardson, a Tony Award winner known for her magnetic performances in Cabaret and The Parent Trap. Her death raised questions that still linger. How could a minor fall lead to such a catastrophic outcome? Why did she refuse immediate medical care? And what does this tragedy reveal about the hidden dangers of seemingly small injuries? As we dig deeper, we'll uncover the timeline of events, the key players involved, and the ripple effects that continue to shape Liam Neeson's life and legacy. But first, let's ask a question that haunts this story. Could Natasha's life have been saved if that first decision to walk away from medical help had been different? The timeline of this tragedy is critical to understanding its weight. In early March 2009, Natasha and her family traveled to Mont Tremblant, a picturesque ski resort in Quebec. She was there to enjoy a family vacation, a break from her demanding career. On the morning of March 16th, she joined a beginner ski lesson, a light-hearted activity meant to ease her into the sport. The fall itself was unremarkably, no broken bones, no visible injuries. Natasha reportedly laughed it off, telling her instructor she was fine. According to reports, she signed a waiver declining medical attention and returned to her hotel room. This decision, made in a moment of confidence, would prove fatal. Within an hour, she began complaining of a headache, a classic symptom of a brain injury that was silently worsening. By the time paramedics were called, Natasha was deteriorating rapidly. She was transported to Centre Hospitalier Laurentien in Quebec, then airlifted to Hôpital du Sacré-Cœur in Montreal. Recognizing the severity of her condition, doctors decided to transfer her to Lenox Hill Hospital in New York, closer to her family. Liam, who was filming in Toronto at the time, rushed to her side. On March 17th, tests confirmed the worst. Natasha was brain dead. The next day, surrounded by her family, including Liam, her mother Vanessa Redgrave, and her sister Jolie Richardson, she was taken off life support. Her organs were donated, saving 3 lives, a final act of generosity that reflected her lifelong commitment to helping others. What makes this timeline so gut-wrenching is the speed at which everything unfolded. In less than 48 hours, a vibrant woman went from laughing on a ski slope to being gone forever. The public's reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Fans flooded social media platforms like Twitter, expressing disbelief that such a routine accident could claim a life. Media outlets, from the New York Times to People magazine, ran tributes to Natasha's talent and warmth, while also questioning the safety protocols at ski resorts. Some praised Mont Tremblant for following standard procedures, noting that Natasha's refusal of care was her choice. Others criticized the resort, asking why there wasn't more insistence on immediate medical evaluation for head injuries. This debate sparked a broader conversation about the dangers of concussions and the importance of recognizing symptoms early, a conversation that continues to resonate in sports and medical communities today. But the real story here isn't just about a tragic accident. It's about the people left behind: Liam Neeson, their sons, and the extended Redgrave family, and the questions that linger in the shadows. Was Natasha's death a cruel twist of fate? Or could it have been prevented? What does it say about the pressures of fame, where even a moment of vulnerability can have irreversible consequences? As we move forward, we'll explore the relationships at the heart of this story, the unanswered questions, and the public's divided opinions. Stay with us, because this is where the story gets even more complex. The story of Natasha Richardson's death isn't just about a single moment, it's about the lives intertwined with hers, the bonds that defined her, and the ripple effects of her loss. At the center of this tragedy are Natasha, Liam Neeson, their sons Michael and Daniel, and the extended Redgrave family, each playing a role in a narrative that's as much about love as it is about grief. Let's unpack who these people were, how they were connected, and how their relationships shaped the aftermath of March 2009. Natasha Richardson was more than a Hollywood star. She was a scion of the Redgrave acting dynasty. Born to Vanessa Redgrave, an Oscar-winning actress, and Tony Richardson, a renowned director who died of AIDS-related complications in 1991, Natasha carved her own path, earning a Tony Award for Cabaret and starring in films like The Parent Trap and Made in Manhattan. Her warmth and authenticity made her a beloved figure, both on and off the stage. But her most cherished role was as a wife and mother. She met Liam Neeson in 1993 while performing in Anna Christie on Broadway, a production that sparked an electric connection. Liam described their chemistry as a dance of freedom, and within a year, they were married. By 2009, they had been together for 15 years, raising 2 sons, Michael and Daniel, who were 13 and 12 at the time of the accident. Their marriage was a rare Hollywood success story, grounded, passionate, and built on mutual respect. Liam Neeson, then 56, was a rising star known for Schindler's List and Rob Roy, but his world revolved around his family. When Natasha fell, he was in Toronto, filming Chloe. The moment he got the call about her accident, he dropped everything to be by her side. His role in the tragedy is heartbreaking. Not only did he lose his soulmate, but he also faced the unimaginable task of deciding to end her life support, honoring a pact they had made years earlier. In interviews, Liam has spoken of Natasha as his everything, revealing a depth of love that makes his loss even more poignant. Their sons, Michael and Daniel, were just entering their teenage years, a time when they needed their mother most. Michael, now an actor who took his mother's surname to honor her, has spoken candidly about the spiraling grief he experienced, while Daniel pursued a quieter path, launching a tequila brand. Both boys leaned on their father and the Redgrave family for support, but the void left by Natasha was undeniable. The Redgrave family, Vanessa Redgrave and Natasha's sister Jolie Richardson, played a crucial role in the aftermath. Vanessa, a towering figure in theater and film, was devastated by the loss of her daughter, especially coming 18 years after the death of her husband. Tony, Jolie, a successful actress in her own right, became a pillar for Liam and the boys, often sharing tributes to Natasha on social media to keep her memory alive. The family's tight-knit bond was evident as they rallied around Liam and the boys, offering emotional support during a time of unimaginable pain. But their prominence also meant the tragedy played out in the public eye, amplifying their grief. Beyond the family, other players shaped the narrative. The Mont Tremblant resort faced scrutiny for its handling of the incident, while the resort followed protocol by offering medical attention, which Natasha declined. Critics questioned whether staff should have been more proactive in assessing head injuries. The ski instructor, present during the fall, was a minor figure but part of the chain of events. His role was to guide a beginner. Yet the accident happened on his watch. Medical professionals in Quebec and New York also played a critical part, racing against time to save Natasha's life. Their efforts, though heroic, couldn't reverse the damage caused by the hematoma. The relationships between these figures add layers to the story. Liam and Natasha's love was the emotional Korea partnership that seemed unbreakable until fate intervened. The Redgrave family's legacy added weight to Natasha's death, turning a personal loss into a public one. The resort and medical teams, while not directly responsible, became part of a broader debate about safety and responsibility. What's striking is how these connections highlight the human side of the tragedy: a family bound by love, a husband forced to make an impossible choice, and a community grappling with the fallout. But questions linger. Did Natasha's fame influence how her accident was handled? Could the resort have done more to protect her? And how did the public's fascination with her family shape the narrative? As we dig deeper, these relationships reveal the complexities of a story that's far more than a headline. To fully grasp the tragedy of Natasha Richardson's death, we need to walk through the timeline with precision, piecing together the moments that led to her loss. This isn't just a sequence of events, it's a chain of decisions, oversights, and cruel twists of fate that turned a routine day into a nightmare. Let's lay out the chronology, step by step, to understand how quickly everything unraveled and what it reveals about the fragility of life. In early March 2009, Natasha Richardson, Liam Neeson, and their sons arrived at Mont Tremblant, a luxury ski resort in Quebec, for a family vacation. Natasha, not an experienced skier, signed up for a beginner's lesson on March 16th, hoping to enjoy a lighthearted day on the slopes. Around mid-morning, while skiing on a beginner trail called Nansen, she took a seemingly minor fall. There was no dramatic crash, no visible trauma, just a tumble that left her sitting in the snow. Laughing, her instructor offered to call for medical help, standard protocol for any fall involving the head. But Natasha, feeling fine, declined and signed a waiver to that effect. She returned to her hotel room at the Fairmont Tremblant, accompanied by a resort staff member to ensure she was okay. Within an hour, the first signs of trouble appeared. Natasha began experiencing headaches, a subtle but ominous symptom. By noon, her condition worsened, and the resort called paramedics. She was rushed to Centre Hospitalier Lorrainien, a local hospital in St. Agathe-de-Monts, about 30 minutes away. Initial assessments revealed the severity of her condition, and doctors decided to transfer her to Hôpital du Sacré-Cœur in Montreal, a larger facility with advanced trauma care. Meanwhile, Liam Neeson, who was in Toronto filming Chloe, received a call about the accident and immediately flew to Montreal. By the time he arrived, Natasha was in critical condition. Tests confirmed an epidural hematoma, a condition where blood pools between the skull and brain, exerting deadly pressure. The window for effective treatment had already begun to close. On March 17th, with her condition deteriorating, Natasha was airlifted to Lenox Hill Hospital in New York City, where her family, including Vanessa Redgrave and Jolie Richardson, gathered to be with her. Doctors in New York ran further tests, but the prognosis was grim. Natasha was brain dead, her injury too severe to reverse. Liam faced the devastating reality of a pact he and Natasha had made years earlier. If either of them were ever in a vegetative state, they would let the other go. On March 18th, surrounded by her loved ones, Natasha was taken off life support. She was 45 years old. In a final act of compassion, her organs were donated, saving 3 lives. The speed of this tragedy, just 48 hours from a fall to a final goodbye, left the world reeling. This timeline raises haunting questions. Why did Natasha feel fine enough to decline medical care, only to succumb hours later? This phenomenon, known as a lucid interval, is common in epidural hematomas, where victims appear normal while the injury silently worsens. Could the resort have insisted on a medical evaluation despite her refusal? Protocols at the time didn't require it, but the incident sparked debates about whether ski resorts should adopt stricter measures for head injuries. The rapid progression of her condition also highlights the limitations of emergency care in remote areas. Had Natasha been closer to a trauma center, might the outcome have been different? These questions don't have easy answers, but they underscore the razor-thin line between life and death in cases like this. As we move forward, we'll explore the conflicts and unanswered questions that make this tragedy so compelling. Every tragedy has a core conflict, a moment where the stakes become clear and the questions start piling up. In Natasha Richardson's story, the conflict isn't just between life and death, it's between human instinct and medical reality, between protocol and intuition, between love and the unbearable weight of letting go. Let's dive into the central tensions, the climactic moments, and the lingering mysteries that make this story so haunting. The primary conflict lies in the deceptive simplicity of Natasha's fall. A minor tumble on a beginner's slope shouldn't end in tragedy, yet it did. The clash here is between perception and reality. Natasha felt fine, laughed off the incident, and declined medical help, unaware that a silent killer in epidural hematoma was forming in her brain. This lucid interval, where victims seem normal for a short time, is a cruel quirk of brain injuries. It's what makes this case so shocking. A woman at the height of her life, surrounded by luxury and love, was betrayed by her own body's signals. The climax came swiftly within hours. Her headaches escalated, and by the time medical intervention began, it was too late. The moment Liam Neeson arrived at her bedside in Montreal, only to learn she was brain dead, marks the emotional peak of this tragedia. Husband facing the loss of his soulmate, forced to make a choice no one should ever have to make. But the conflict extends beyond the accident itself. The Mont Tremblant resort followed protocol by offering medical assistance, which Natasha refused. Yet critics have pointed to a systemic issue. Should resorts be more aggressive in assessing head injuries, especially for beginners? Some argue that Natasha's fame and charm may have influenced staff to defer to her wishes rather than insist on a checkup. Others defend the resort, noting that forcing medical care could infringe on personal autonomy. This tension between safety protocols and individual choice remains unresolved and sparked heated debates in 2009. Skiing communities on forums like Ski Talk and Reddit questioned whether resorts needed better training to recognize subtle signs of brain trauma. Medical professionals weighed in, emphasizing that even minor head injuries can be deadly without immediate imaging. A lesson Natasha's case drove home. Another layer of conflict lies in Liam Neeson's personal struggle. He and Natasha had a pact. If either were ever in a vegetative state, they would let the other go. When faced with that reality, Liam honored her wishes. But the decision was far from simple. In a 2014 interview with 60 Minutes, he described the moment he told Natasha, "You're not coming back from this," his voice breaking as he recalled their final moments. This choice was both an act of love and a source of enduring pain, raising questions about the emotional toll of such decisions. How does someone move forward after letting go of their partner? Liam's subsequent focus on work starring in over 65 films since 2009 suggests a man running from grief. Yet he's admitted to still talking to Natasha daily, a poignant reminder of his unresolved loss. Unanswered questions add fuel to the story's intrigue. Why didn't Natasha recognize the severity of her symptoms sooner? Was it her confidence, her unfamiliarity with skiing risks, or simply bad luck? Could the resort staff or the initial medical team have acted differently to change the outcome? And what about the broader implications? Has the skiing industry learned from this tragedy? Or are similar risks still overlooked? These questions don't just point to gaps in the narrative. They challenge us to think about accountability, preparedness, and the fragility of life. As we explore public reactions next, we'll see how these conflicts fueled a broader conversation about safety, grief, and the cost of fame. When Natasha Richardson's death hit the headlines in March 2009, it wasn't just a private tragedy, it became a public spectacle, dissected by media, fans, and experts alike. The outpouring of grief was immediate, but so were the debates, questions, and competing narratives that flooded traditional outlets and early social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook. Let's explore how the public reacted, the controversies that emerged, and what these responses reveal about our obsession with celebrity tragedies. The initial reaction was one of shock and sorrow. Natasha, a beloved actress with a radiant presence, was mourned across the globe. Tributes poured in from outlets like the New York Times, which praised her luminous talent, and People magazine, which highlighted her warmth as a mother and wife. On Twitter, fans shared memories of her performances, with hashtags like Natasha Richardson trending as people posted clips from The Parent Trap and Cabaret. Her death felt personal to many, not just because of her fame, but because of her relatable humanity. She was a working mother, a devoted spouse, and part of a storied family. The Redgrave dynasty's prominent sequel, Natasha Richardson and Liam Neeson. This is a deeply human story, one that resonates with anyone who has ever loved deeply or faced the unbearable weight of loss. It's a reminder that life can change in an instant, and the choices we make in those fleeting moments can echo for years. What do you think? Could Natasha's story have ended differently? Or was this tragedy an inevitable twist of fate? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let's keep this conversation going. Thank you for watching until the end. And if you want to stay in the loop for more stories that uncover the truths behind the headlines, subscribe to Celeb Shadows TV, because no story should stay in the shadows. See you next time.